Now I turn over to the member from the PN Carleton.
Thank you very much,
for the
Speaker.
debate.
It's a great pleasure today to join my colleague from Ottawa South, as well as my colleague from London West, in expressing all of our caucus's support for Lebanese Heritage Month in November of next year. Of course, we all know that Independence Day is November 22nd, where it indicates the liberation from France. You know, immigration from the Lebanese started in 1882 into Canada. As my colleague stated, one of the largest populations is here in Ontario, with a large population as well in Montreal, but it's Ottawa. Of the 200,000 Lebanese Canadians, where the greatest share of a city's population resides. A great deal of it in Ottawa South and in Nepean and Carleton, in our nation's capital. What's always impressed me about the Lebanese population is no matter where they work, they have an indelible entrepreneurial spirit. In fact, during the Civil War, there was an influx of Lebanese, now Canadians, to our country. And many of them here came as a result of a program that Canada ran, and the only other westernization country that did something similar was Australia. And we've noticed that whether it's restaurants or other businesses, that the Lebanese community, particularly in Ottawa, has been exceedingly talented. The connection between our two countries, obviously, is because of the wonderful influx. And I wanted to introduce you as an assembly to some of the wonderful Lebanese Canadians that reside in the city of Ottawa or who have resided in my city. Ralph Tanis has been a great friend of mine for close to 20 years. Ralph has been active in community service. He sat as the chair of the National Capital Commission from 1989 to 1985. He was also a member of the Central Canada Exhibition Association Board of Directors from 83 to 98. But most people in Ottawa know Ralph Tanis from his major food distribution warehouse, as well as his chain of restaurants, Ralph's Bar and Pizza. Another friend of mine, Fat Albert's, of course, is my colleague from Renfrew, Nipissing, Pembroke. It reminds me of Fat Albert's because I can tell you a little secret. Each election day, we send off our volunteers with subs from Ralph Tanis's Fat Albert's. And so, Ralph, if you're watching here today, thank you for everything you've done for our city. You're an amazing individual. Another friend of mine is Robert Swata. He's the owner of KS Restaurant and a board member of St. Elias Community Hall and Church. As well, Bobby was a good friend of mine that was able to bring a number of businesses together to inform me and my leader, Patrick Brown, the leader of the official opposition, on business matters arranging inside our community, and we really appreciate his work in his community. George Hanna is the owner of Gabriel's Pizza, and if you're from Ottawa, Gabriel's Pizza is synonymous with excellence, and it's growing everywhere in our community, and he is also very much involved in a variety of different organizations, all of them, of course, involved in the Ottawa Lebanese Festival, which if you've never been to the Ottawa Lebanese Festival, you are missing out. It's got the best food and entertainment that you ever did see, and it's one I enjoyed this past year taking my family to. It's always a wonderful event with so many good, entrepreneurial-minded people. But Ottawa is home to probably one of the most famous Lebanese Canadians, and I'm going to say the name, and you're all going to want to sing a song. Paul Anka. In fact, my colleague from Ottawa South, in his riding, there's actually a Paul Anka Drive, which I have to take in order to get to the airport from my Nepean riding. And I think that Mr. Anka would need no introduction here. He was born in Ottawa. He became a U.S. citizen, of course, in 1990, but his parents owned a restaurant. They were of Lebanese Christian descent, and he started singing with the St. Elijah Syrian Orthodox Choir. And that started out in a wonderful city called the City of Ottawa. And so, Speaker, to my constituents of Lebanese descent and to all Ontarians of Lebanese descent, I want them to know that on behalf of the Progressive Conservative Caucus and Party of Ontario, we proudly stand behind this piece of legislation, and I will be excited to proclaim on November 22nd, 2018, Lebanese Heritage Month. So to all those watching at home, I hope you enjoyed these proceedings, and I look forward to voting in support of this legislation, and I am grateful for the opportunity to add my name as co-sponsor to this bill. Thank you.
Thank you very much.